I've had students that are afraid for a reason. Either they've been attacked, they have a stalker, they've had a home invasion.
Right.
I mean, these things, it makes me so angry. People are victimized. It makes me very angry. But some women come in so afraid.
Yeah.
And they leave feeling so comfortable and confident, and it's such a great feeling.
Hello everyone, my name is Amara Barnes, and I'm the founder of the Women Gun Owners Association of America. And today I am here with Michelle Smith, who owns MS Firearms Training in Enumclaw, Washington. Yep. And I'm super excited to get to know you a little bit better.
Good. Me too.
Yeah. So how did you, I guess I want to know, what was your first experience with firearms? Were you raised with them or?
So not really raised with them, but every year, every fall, I grew up in Southern Cal. Every fall, we go to Death Valley for vacation to the desert, dune buggying and all that. So when I was about 10, so I had two sisters. When I was about 10, I remember my dad setting up cans and having us shoot a .22 revolver. And he set everything up for us, hold our hand, his hands on our hand. So that was my very first experience, was with a revolver in the desert.
Okay.
And we just shot a couple shots and it was fine. I wasn't scared or anything like that.
Were you used to seeing him handle firearms up to that point?
A little bit, but not much.
Okay.
Because just in our general growing up home life, firearms wasn't a part of it, really. It was just out in the desert to protect ourselves, for him to protect the family, all that, right?
Sure.
So he had other guns too, but that .22 is what we started just shooting at some cans in the desert. So it was fun. But then I kind of just put it aside. We didn't really think about it anymore.
Yeah.
And then it was probably little over 20 years ago. Our kids were 8 and 9 at the time. And my husband and I had guns in the house. They were all up in the attic. We were never anti-gun. It just wasn't really important to us. So I hadn't fired a gun since I was 10. And so I was a little leery of them. So we thought, we need to be safe with this. With these guns, we need to teach our kids how to be safe.
Yeah.
So I went into a Women on Target class. It's like kind of a condensed version of a basic pistol class. It's an NRA class.
That's NRA, yeah.
Women on Target with a girlfriend of mine. And went in that class feeling very scared and intimidated and scared to touch the guns and all the stuff that goes along with it. Because it was not a part of my adult life.
Sure.
And left that class feeling so relaxed and empowered and handling those firearms so well. And it was just a very, very empowering feeling. Left that class, my girlfriend and I both were like, oh yeah, this is it. Right? Got hooked, took basic pistol, what I teach now. Took defensive handgun classes over the years. That's where they're teaching you to shoot quickly from the draw, defensive scenarios, kind of getting you in that mindset. Just got hooked. And then about little over 8 years ago, so we homeschooled our kids growing up. So I love teaching, I love shooting. So about 10 years ago, kids were getting college age, going into college, done homeschooling them. I had a business in Enumclaw that was extremely draining, loved it, but so tiring. So I thought, I want to think about something else. And I just loved shooting so much that I had some friends and some cop buddies. They're like, you should take a class. Just take a class to instruct. Yeah. Just do it. So I'm like, okay, why not? So I did it and loved that class. Teaching is a passion of mine. And I was done homeschooling, so I'm like, I can't teach. I could teach my baristas. I had a coffee stand. And I just absolutely love teaching. Love it. And I love shooting. So I was like, what better thing to do than teach shooting?
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So that's how I started. And I didn't do too much the first couple years. I taught some private lessons here and there. And then long story short, I had some family issues with my mom. I took care of her before she passed. And once she passed, I had sold my coffee stand. My mom passed. And that's when I had this time. And I was like, it's my time to start doing something else, take another little direction. So I started teaching my classes full time. Yeah. 2 to 4 classes a week. So that's kind of a lot. And just so super fulfilling. And absolutely love it.
Did you already have that property out there in Enumclaw?
We already had it.
That's pretty nice.
So we've had that for 15 years. And when we bought it, nothing on it. We built a house, all that. Saw a little spot. Hey, we could do a little range. Started with this little single lane. Yeah. Over the years, I've had my cop buddies come up, range safety officers come up, advise me, go through all the things we need to do to get that range safe. I became a range safety officer as well. I got certified for that as well. It's just important to have a safe safe range as well. So anyway, so it just evolved, and now it's this nice range. Yeah.
Is that required to have a range safety officer on your private range?
Not
like
required,
that?
but advised.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
I agree. I mean, safety is everything. I mean, even when I instruct, it's 2 are sitting at a time, but 1 is firing at a time. But once they're standing, it's one student.
Yeah.
Me, 1 student. My hands on their back, hands on their hand for that first shot.
Yeah.
You know, safety is number 1, and that is number 1. Everyone's safety, theirs, mine, and everybody behind us, all the other students. That is the most important thing of all.
How many kids do you say you had?
2.
2, a boy or girl?
Boy and a girl, both married out of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did
So
you
we're empty nesters.
send them on their way with a firearm?
Oh,
or
yeah.
like, what's your policy with?
At home.
Yeah.
We did family shoot things, and as soon as they turned 21, bam, guns for their birthday.
Yeah.
They went down, got their concealed carry permits. I mean, so it's a gun culture in the house. Yeah.
So would you
safety, right?
Were they kind of raised around that then from the get-go, or were they
from when about when we started getting the property?
How old were they then?
So they were early teens, preteens.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when we started doing more shooting at the house and teaching them. And
Yeah. So we have 2 boys, and they're my stepsons, and they are, one's about to turn 10 and the other's 11.
Yeah.
And, you know, we are fairly recently starting to get into firearms, right?
Yes.
So the firearms are new to our household relatively.
Yep. Yeah.
And so for little boys, you know, guns are a fascination.
Oh, for sure.
And so it's been really tricky getting them to understand the seriousness of what we're doing and why the guns are in the house, you know, and what are the rules around them and teaching them the proper respect.
Right.
And so, you know, we've taken them to the range many times, and we just drill the safety into them like as hard as we can. But they're still little boys.
I know.
And it's tricky. And so I was wondering about your experience with your kids, if they weren't raised, you know, since 5 years old, being used to seeing mom carrying a gun around the house. You know, how did you introduce this to them?
Well, my son was already doing airsoft and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, with airsoft, they're pointing the gun at each other, you know.
Yeah.
But even with airsoft, he had his friends come over for airsoft wars at the property and all that. Yeah. Still, safety was first. My husband would do a safety briefing. Everybody make sure they have their equipment on. And, you know what I mean?
I love that.
Even with that, even with 4th of July.
Yeah.
Before we had the property, we had a house in Enumclaw, just in town. Yeah. Even with 4th of July, my husband and our best friend, they would do the safety briefing with the kids. Everyone had their goggles on. It's like safety first, right? But so with airsoft, you're pointing the guns at each other. It's a different mindset with an actual firearm. So it was just doing it over and over, right? Doing it with the kids at the range. Safety first, finger off the trigger, teaching them all the safety rules, safe direction, finger off the trigger. Right. The more you do it, the more you spend that time with them, it will click. And I start kids at 13 in my classes, and I do some teen classes sometimes too, where it's just the teens, but then the parents have to be there. If they're under 18, a parent has to be there. But I will do teen classes as well. Oh, that's a good idea. And I cut the class down like an hour. I take out some of the kind of icky defensive firearm stuff you have to think about, you know, for threats and all the things that kids aren't really mentally ready to deal with yet, or emotionally ready to deal with. It's more the safety of it, how this tool operates, getting them comfortable and getting them really confident. Yeah. And so I've done several of those. Those are fun too. So the more it's more it's not really an age, like a magic number when you feel your kids are ready. Right. But it's the not really the quality, but the quantity. Do it often with them. The more they are exposed to it and doing the safety things, picking it up, finger off the trigger, setting it down, picking it up, finger off the trigger, setting it down, safe direction, that gets ingrained in them. That becomes muscle memory for them too. Right. And they're going to pick up a gun and they're always going to keep it in a safe direction. Right. Okay. And with their finger off that trigger. Yeah, definitely. And those are the 2 big things. If you never touch the trigger, right, and it's not going to fire. Right. Safe. Or if you're always in a safe direction and you accidentally oopsie, you're not going to hurt a person. Yeah. Right? Probably scare the crap out of everybody. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right. But anyway, so as much as you can, as often as you can, have them exposed to that in a safe environment. Yeah. No, I love that. Yep. What strikes you, or what have you learned so far in your experience as a firearms instructor in terms of women's empowerment and independence, and what
learning to defend yourself with a firearm
Oh my gosh,
has done
a lot.
for, yeah.
I learned something
Tell me.
every class, and I've met so many awesome women. So one of the biggest things is that we are so much stronger than we give ourselves credit for. There is so much, I get the chills talking about it right now.
Yeah.
Because I've had so many students that are deathly afraid. They are so afraid. I've had students that are afraid for a reason. Either they've been attacked, they have a stalker. There's so many, they've had a home invasion.
Right.
I mean, these things, it makes me so angry that we have to, anybody, not just women, anybody needs, people are victimized. It makes me very angry. But some women come in so afraid, and they leave feeling so comfortable and confident, and it's such a great feeling. And what I noticed is that it's normal to be afraid of something like this. Yeah, it's very intimidating. Okay, but it's so much easier to get over that fear when you're in a relaxed environment. When you're starting off with something small and less intimidating, a 22, it's like that revolver that I showed you is like just above a BB gun. It's like, boom! I mean, it hardly has any recoil. Yeah. That's what you want when you're learning something. And in my class, it's a relaxed, it's a good vibe. It's this comfortable vibe. You can add a little fun. Yeah. Safety is most important, but add some fun to it. Add some zen to it. I tell people, take a cleansing breath, right? And it helps them. It's like it centers them. Yeah. But once they learn how this tool operates, that's what makes them so much more empowered, because they're like, hey, this is a tool that 2 hours ago I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even touch this. And now they're like, hey, I totally understand how that works. Right. Oh, I get how ammo works. Makes me understand that gun so much better. Yeah. And when they learn all the fundamentals and they start getting some good groupings, it's very encouraging. Right. And they leave there just feeling so great, and so like they conquered this fear, right? Yeah. But and one of the biggest things that I see that makes me upset is women, or anybody. I just don't want to say women, anybody. Yeah. But women really, they're handed a gun, a big 45 or a 9. Yeah. And they're told, hey, just aim down there. They know nothing about the gun. Yeah. It's handed to them already loaded. They don't know what to do. They don't grip it properly. They don't know how to align the sights. Right. And they fire it. Yeah. And they are scared to death. Naturally. And they're not accurate because they don't know any fundamentals yet. So then they think, that's scary and I suck. Oh, sorry. That's scary. And and I did not even hit target. This is not for me. Yeah. And they're turned off for life sometimes. Right. Right? That's not the proper way to learn. You need to learn in this nice, safe, chill environment, right. Okay? As chill as you can be. Yeah. Right? And learn the proper way. Yeah. And learn on something small. And then you get so confident with a 22, and then I give them something bigger. And they're the same fundamentals, and they're gripping that gun properly, and they're aiming properly, and they take that first shot, and sometimes they're like, ooh, but they can handle it, okay? Because they've done it already with the 22. So that's my suggestion, is always start small. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, and I had boyfriends, or I would go on dates with these guys who would be very excited about their firearms. Yeah. And they want to tell me all about them and show them to me and all this stuff. And eventually, if I'm in their place and they're like pulling their guns out, I'm like, okay. And I didn't know anything about the guns, you know? And so I had this one guy, he pulled out this long rifle and all this other guns. I'm like, oh my God, you got an arsenal in your closet. That's cool. Yeah. I already feel weird about this. And then, and I didn't even know anything about firearms, but I knew enough to be like, this is not safe. Yeah. So he pulls this out and he's waving it around the room. He's like, look at this. And, and I'm going, oh my God, I need to leave. This is not okay. And so then imagine him taking, if he were to take me to a range, be like, oh, I'll show you how to do it. I'm already not going to feel like this is a safe place for me. Yep. And I'm everything's going to be wrong about that. Right. And I think that so many men have really good intentions when it comes to sharing their passion with firearms with their lady. They always want to buy them the gun and show them everything. And then they botch it because they aren't, I guess maybe they don't know the fundamentals well enough themselves, and they aren't handling them safely at home. And so their lady is already nervous about it. Yes, exactly. And if it's not her passion and it's his, then it's you're being pushed to do something that you don't really want to do. And, I can go on. But I know. And that's another thing, having someone buy a gun for you. Right. They don't know how your hand, and they don't know if you can grip it. They don't know if you can handle that recoil. Can you even rack the side? I've had so many students that come to my class. They bring their firearms with them. We learn with the 22s, and then we can get them out, get their gun out after, get them comfy with it. They've come with this gun. Oh, my husband bought this for me.
Right.
And haven't fired it yet. It hasn't been fired.
Yeah.
And we get it up there. They can't even operate the thing. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they take a few shots. They're like, I hate it.
Yeah. It hurts my hand.
Yeah.
Oh, ow. I don't like this. This isn't for me.
Yeah.
Again, I've said it before. It's such a personalized experience
Yeah, it is.
finding the right gun for you. I have so many that I actually can get out and let my students actually have their hands on. And if they don't even like any of mine, I encourage them to go to a shooting range that has rentals available, right?
Yeah.
Glass cases full of them.
Right.
You need to find your baby. You're gonna go, oh, this is it. This is my gun. One's gonna stand out. Yeah.
Well, and when I was going to buy my first gun, I didn't know where to go. And I didn't know what steps to take. And I'm like, I'm sure I will take some classes or something. I will wind up doing that. But of course, the first place I'm going to go is a gun store.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, they would know.
Right.
They would know what to recommend. They would know what class I should go to. They couldn't help me at all.
Oh my gosh.
They were useless. And I did all the wrong things in all the wrong order.
Yeah.
And, I go and I tried a few of the guns out in the glass case. I had my brother with me.
Yeah.
And thankfully he kind of knew what we were doing, and so he could help me. But it was we just bumbled our way through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so it's just so much better if you can go to a class like yours. Like you have so many different firearms that these ladies can try first.
Right.
And kind of have an idea at least so that when they do go to that gun store, they can be like, hey, I would like to try this one or that one.
Also, I have my certain favorite spots that I recommend my students to go to that I know they're going to be treated well.
That's good.
It's a knowledgeable staff. They're not going to intimidate you. They're not going to treat you like you're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's a big turn off too. That can turn women off of firearms when they go in and they're treated like they're dumb.
Well,
or they're disregarded.
I absolutely
would
have fallen into that category.
Oh, yeah.
But I was motivated.
Right. Exactly.
I was like, no, I need to do this.
And I'm so glad that you did because that makes me mad and sad too that happens.
Yeah.
So I have my places for guns in general, for firing guns, not on my range, but somewhere else if they need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Rentals, trying some out. My places that I go that I have a good relationship with that gun shop, with the owners, with the staff.
Yeah.
And they know me, I know them. They send me students, I send my students back to them.
Yeah.
There are certain ones that I have around the sound, that I will send people to that I trust.
Are there places off the top of your head you can tell me?
Brad's Guns and
Brad's
Lee
Guns.
Taps, Pistol Annie's, Long Shot and Yelm. Yep, they're super nice.
Okay.
WGS Guns is in Lakewood off the 5, and they have a range as well where you can shoot.
Oh,
okay.
An indoor one.
Indoor, yep. So those are places. I didn't know if you wanted me to mention any, but yes.
It's fine.
And of course, Work Sports. Okay.
Work Sports.
They are in Enumclaw. They're my local. They're my local guys.
Do they have a range?
They don't have a range. It's a gun shop. Okay. So Brad's is a gun shop, Pistol Annie's gun shop, not a range. But Work Sports in town and Enumclaw for any Enumclaw people, they are amazing as well. Yeah, they're going to treat you well.
I'll have to check them out next time I'm in town.
Yes, yeah. Great selection of firearms. Yeah, they're knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
They'll take care of you. And I've trained some of their staff, and I've trained so many business owners. That's another thing too. Business owners are wanting training now because of the way our world is.
Yeah.
I've trained so many business owners in my town of Enumclaw because they're realizing that they have to protect themselves in their own place of business. So it's not just our homes or our business, but when we're out on the street.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing I wanted to mention about women and shooting. The thing that I've noticed, a lot of women that come in, their catalyst for why they're doing this is to protect their kids. Okay? One woman I had just recently had someone 5 a.m. jiggle her back door. Her husband worked graveyards.
Oh, wow.
She had 2 little kids. She's like, I'm a sitting duck. If he, she scared him off, but scared her to death.
Right.
So that's the catalyst sometimes. They're like, okay, this is the time. I don't know why I waited this long.
Yeah.
It's now. I got to be able to protect me, my kids, my loved ones, whatever.
Right.
And yes, I totally agree. And that was one of my things too. I could defend my kids for sure.
Yeah.
But we also have to realize that we are important.
Yeah.
We are valuable. Not just getting a gun to protect your kids. Protect yourself.
Absolutely.
Your kids need you.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have kids, your husband, even if you don't have a spouse, your friends, your people need you. You are valuable. That makes me want to, that makes me tear up too.
Yeah, definitely.
We are valuable. Your life
you're worth defending. Yeah, definitely.
And I will defend it if I need to. I hope I never have to.
Yeah.
But if I do, I want to be ready. I want to be trained. I want to be prepared. And that's what I want for my students.
Yeah.
You can take my class, but if you don't touch your gun for months and months,
Right.
you're going to lose it. This is a skill. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So I hope nothing ever happens to any of us.
Yeah.
But if it does, I want you to be ready.
Absolutely. Well, and I've been saying, don't wait for the boogeyman.
No.
He's not going to wait for you.
No.
He's going to come.
No. Right.
So
You need to be ready. And yeah, it's just crazy right now. It's just crazy.
and who knows what's coming next.
I know.
So,
I know.
Yeah.
Yep. People realize, they're realizing it, you know.
I think
But-
so.
Yeah. Scary.
It is scary.
So it's funny that it can be such a scary thing, but it can also be such a fun thing. Like shooting, like as a sport in general, and just training is super fun.
You know, honestly, for me, I'm starting to like shooting more, just the actually the shooting, the going out in the woods and actually doing it.
Right.
But I think what I get the most out of it is after I've been shooting and I go home and I feel like that was so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I did that. I feel so badass right now.
I know.
And powerful
Yeah.
and like I can handle anything.
Yeah.
And it's something that is not talked about enough, I think, you know, because like, okay, guns are cool in Hollywood, but they're actually not cool in real life. You know, if you buy a gun and you're a woman, they're like, oh, you bought a gun?
Yeah.
Why? You know, like that's a terrible thing. I'm like,
That shouldn't be our culture. The culture should be good for you.
I know.
We use the term badass in class. I'm like, you look like a bad, because I'll take pictures and a little video of my students when I feel it is safe. Safety first, photographer last.
Right.
Okay. Sometimes I can't back up from somebody because they need me right there.
Yeah.
So my hand's on their back. I'm right there.
Right.
But when I feel they're safe, they're doing their thing, right? I will back up a foot or two, take a couple quick snapshots and all that, but I'll send them those later that night. And I'll be like, you look so badass.
Yeah.
And that's something that I will say to them. Or they're like, yeah, I do. And I feel badass.
Yeah.
You know, they feel it. When they leave, they feel that empowerment and that, and you're just accomplishing something.
Definitely.
So big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think becoming proficient in handling firearms is one of the most empowering things you can ever do.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to ask you what kind of advice you would give to a woman who, say, owns a firearm and she's taken the basic pistol class, but she doesn't really know what to do next to gain proficiency. She's like not super comfortable with it, but she's like doesn't want to retake the basic class.
Right.
What's next? What do you do?
Okay, so for my students, I encourage them to dry fire as much as they can at home. I show them what to do. Right. There's videos that you can find on what to do. It's pulling the trigger on an empty gun. You figure out where in your house that safe direction is, and you have your hands on that gun unloaded, right? Double, triple check the chamber, no mag or empty mag. Use your snap caps.
Yeah.
It's practicing everything you learn in basic pistol with an empty gun at home. The more you have your hands on your gun, the better you are going to be with it.
Right.
And the more comfortable you're going to feel with this tool, right? Again, think of any tool that you buy. The first time you handle it, you're like, ooh, where's the button? How do I do this, right? And then pretty soon you're like, boop, 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 boop. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
That's the way how your gun should be. You're going to be handling it so much. So dry firing is super important.
So like how often? How many times a week or a month?
I would say a couple times a week. I mean, some people, there's these little alarm clock things you can buy that you get this little laser, so it goes off in the morning and you have to go, boop, you know, add it to make the alarm go off. I don't have one, but I've heard some students say that. I know. But at the beginning, you want to do it more often. So you get these neurons connected. Muscle memory is neurons connecting up in our brain, right? Forming these connections. And then I usually suggest go to a range as much as you can, but sometimes it's intimidating to go to a gun range as a new gun owner. Even if you've taken basic pistol, it's like,
Yeah.
So, for my students, I offer private training sessions for them to come up for hour-long training sessions. I do it all the time with students that have taken my course and passed. So they'll come up with their firearm and we'll spend an hour together just going through all the stuff and practicing with live fire.
Yeah. Well, and in my experience, that is so worth the money.
Oh, for sure.
So worth it. And you guys, honestly, firearms instructors as a group, I say as a whole, generally speaking, you're so affordable, like so much more affordable than anyone would imagine.
Yeah.
And so it is worth it to go and get some private training.
Plus, I absolutely love it too. So I absolutely love it. So I suggest live fire as much as you can because, again, you want to know your gun. Not just the dry firing is going to help you with the grip and the smooth trigger squeeze and all the fundamentals you learn in basic pistol. Dry fire is going to keep those going, right? But live fire is going to get you to know your gun. You need to know how that thing sounds. It should sound and feel the same way every time you fire. Bang, bang. The more you fire your
Is that
gun,
how yours sounds?
I make noises like that in my class. I'm like,
I love it.
Anyway, so it should sound the same way, that particular firearm, right? All guns are different, but it should be the same, pretty much the same recoil, same noise, every shot you fire. The more you actually fire your gun, the easier you can identify when something's wrong with it.
Right.
What if you have a squib load? These are things we learn in class. That's less pressure, poof, right? You have to check that gun. If you have a squib load, make sure that bullet actually left your gun. Right. But the more you handle your gun, bang, bang, poof, whoa. Okay, you know what? I know my baby, and that was not right. Something's funky. It's like driving your car. You get in your car and you start it. It should sound the same way every time you start it. But if you start it and it goes, you're like, whoa, you know what? I've been driving this car a long time. Something's wrong. I better either check it myself or have someone look at it. Same for your gun. If it doesn't sound right, something's wrong. You need to check it. So anyway, live fire as much as you can. Plus, it's just going to keep those skills up, and it's going to get you out of your head. Because the live fire part, that's when your brain messes with you, okay? Because our brain does not want a gun to go bang in our hand. It's an explosion, right? Our brain doesn't want an explosion to happen anywhere near our body. So it doesn't want it to happen. So shooting's like 90% mental. You can get the fundamentals down, and you got a smooth squeeze, and your sights are aligned, and your stance and your grip is all good. But if you're in your head and your brain's going, you're going to flinch that gun and you're going to shoot low. It's super common with new shooters. Because your brain's going, no, I don't want that gun to go bang. No. Okay. So you have to get over that. So the more you live fire, brain's going to start to trust you. Right. It's going to go, oh, you know what? Amara did this last week. I remember. Right. Something's going to go bang in her hand, but you know what? She's safe because she's being safe because I trust her because she's done it before. Okay. Yeah. Still doesn't like it. Yeah. Our body doesn't want when something goes bang, our body shoots adrenaline through us so we can fight or flight. Right. It's a natural body response. It's always going to happen. I teach my classes. Sometimes I don't even take a shot. So, usually I will take one, but sometimes I don't even take a shot. But I have adrenaline just from my students shooting because it's a natural body response, right? Yeah. So live fire as much as you can, dry fire as much as you can. Free. Yeah. Buy yourself some snap caps. They're reusable. Free training right there in your house, okay? Live fire as much as you can. As far as when you feel comfortable carrying, how do you feel comfortable? It's very different. I would start by just carrying your holster on you with nothing in it for a while, even around the house. Then unload your gun, put it in your holster, and walk around with the unloaded gun for a while, okay? When you feel like you're ready, then you can load your gun and start carrying it on your body. Right. Some people don't even want one in the chamber at the beginning. They just want it. This will make sense to some people. Some are going to be confused. Some people will load their magazine, rack that slide so there's a round in the chamber. They'll take out their magazine, top it off, and put it in. That gives you an extra round. So my block, 6 rounds, right? I can put 6, 1 in the chamber. I put that, top it off with 1 more. Now I have 7, right? I always carry with 1 in the chamber. That is my personal preference. That's my personal preference. The reason why is because I've seen enough video on how long it takes to rack that if a threat's running at you. Yeah, okay? Right, exactly. With an empty chamber can be dangerous. You want me to keep talking? Yeah. Okay. An empty chamber can be dangerous, but a lot of people don't want to carry with an empty don't want one in the chamber because they're too afraid that if they accidentally pull the trigger, if you pull the trigger and there's one in the chamber, it's going to fire. Yep. Okay. Especially if your safety's off, right? It's the idea. Yep. So people are like, oh, but I don't want one in the chamber. I have kids in the house. I get that. But your kids should never get their hands on your gun in the first place. Right. You're the safety of your gun. Agreed. You have to know that a threat can get at you in a couple of seconds. And if you draw your gun and you have nothing in the chamber, you have to know that you have to rack it before that gun will fire. And you may pull that gun out and you're freaking out and this guy is charging at you and or a bear or whatever it is, right? And you're like, oh my God, and you forget that you have an empty chamber and you go to fire. Nothing happened, nothing. It's useless. Shoot. You may be done. Yeah. Okay? It's a scary thing. That's another part of education. go to some classes where you're not even doing any shooting. There's some classes out there that I could recommend where your sit-down classroom, they're talking about use of force. When should you fire? When shouldn't you? How fast could this guy get at you? What are you supposed to think about after the fact? What if you have to shoot somebody? What are you supposed to say to the police? Nothing.
Right.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, we could talk about that later.
Yeah.
But anyway, those are excellent classes. I'm always learning. I'm always taking classes.
Yeah.
And then anyway, get comfortable either with an unloaded gun on you for a while. Pretty soon, you're not even going to know it's on you. I mean, you'll know, but you don't even really feel it. Right?
Yeah, you get used to it.
It's part of your wardrobe, part of your life. It's a lifestyle, right? So you will feel comfortable. So you can carry with an empty chamber. I don't recommend it. Okay, your gun needs to be ready to go ASAP. That's why I'm not a big fan of a bunch of doohickeys all over your gun and a bunch of safeties, this, that. Yeah, safeties are important, but what you learn in basic pistol is that a safety can fail anytime. So even though you have a safety, it could be in the on position, your gun could still fire.
Right.
That thing could be broken internally and you can't see. It's a mechanical device, it can fail. Anything mechanical can break. So I personally don't like a bunch of things all over my gun, safety that I have to worry about flicking off in an emergency.
Right.
Okay. But again, that is your preference. I never tell somebody, don't do that. You do what you are comfortable with.
Right.
But train that way. Train with your gun that way. If you're going to have a gun with a thumb safety on the outside and have nothing in the chamber, you should practice that with an empty gun at home. Draw safety off, chick, chick, bang, or click in the house, right? Click. Yeah. Put your snap caps in. Draw safety off, chick, chick, click. I mean, you're going to have to practice that over and over because that's what you have to do in real life. And you want to be able to do it like that. Yeah. You don't want to be fumbling around. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're not going to. That's why muscle memory is so important. In an emergency, you want your body to take over. Oh my gosh, I'm gripping it, my fingers off the trigger. I'm not ready to shoot yet, but man, I'm holding this gun right? I don't even have to think about the gun. My eyes are free to deal with whatever that threat is running at me right now.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's why muscle memory is so important. You want that just to take over. Okay?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, muscle memory and then the practice with the handling the firearm and then the information part as well. Like you were saying, it's not obvious what the law is in terms of when you can use lethal force like that. Right. And, you hear people all the time, someone was on my property and, next time I would just shoot them or say something silly like that where you're like, I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah. First of all, because we never want to shoot someone if we can avoid it. Right. But then also, you might not lawfully be allowed to do something like that, depending on your state and
everything is different.
Yeah,
you should know your gun laws.
You need to know them inside and out.
Oh yeah.
And then I think that might be part of the hesitancy for a lot of people who don't carry with them because they're like, I'm actually not sure when I can use it. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's why these other classes that you can take, like use of force classes and stuff, they're so valuable because they're going to give you all those tools. And if every situation would be different. Like who knows what that scenario is going to be like if you do have to defend your life and shoot somebody. Right. But you want, when you get to court, I mean, all this stuff comes into play. Were there witnesses? Is there no? And they're going to throw stuff at you, right?
And so are you willing to deal with that fallout?
Right.
You might not be. Yeah. Or it's best to probably not get involved with someone that you don't know. Let's say you come across someone who looks like they're attacking someone else, and turns out you totally misread the situation. I know. Yeah. And you don't want to get wrapped up in that. Right. So. Right.
Plus, the jury's going to look at things like, could you have fled? Could you? Like, you have the right to defend your life when when your life is in danger and you have no other choice, right? You have that right in our state. And that's our Second Amendment rights to defend our life. Yeah. Okay.
But then it's a little bit of a gray area in terms of stand your ground here in Washington, right? It's kind of like, depends on the situation. Yes. Yeah. It's like, oh, cool.
So again, if I'm doing everything right, I would want witnesses around. You want people that can say, oh my gosh, she told him to stop. Oh my gosh, he kept running out. Oh my gosh, she told him to stop or she's going to shoot. And he still kept coming. Right. That looks good for you in court, right? If you have no witnesses, it's you and that guy. Right. Alive or dead, whatever you know. Yeah. But you want those witnesses that's going to look really good for you in court.
Yeah.
They're going to, oh my gosh, she gave him all these chances.
Yeah, make
she
a lot
had
of
nowhere
noise.
to go. I saw it. She had nowhere to flee. He was
Yeah.
coming at her fast. She had no choice.
Yeah.
That's a good thing for you, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, if a guy's 20 yards away running at you, if you had time to run away, that's something that they're going to tell you, and they're going to ask you in court, why didn't you run? Why didn't this? They're going to grill you, right? And so it's just get as much information as you can, and just think about different scenarios.
Right.
I don't obsess about it,
Yeah.
but I'm always thinking, like, especially when I'm out and about, what would happen right now? Well, first off, when I get in my car, door's locked.
Yeah,
Regardless.
definitely.
When I'm driving, I leave a space in front of me, between me and the car in front of me, just in case someone tries to jack me, I can yank it, unless he has a gun at my face. And then, of course, I'm going to, you can't predict what's going to happen.
No.
But I try to kind of envision these different scenarios.
Yeah.
And that way it's like here in the fore part of my brain. So if it does happen, I'm like, oop, that's again, muscle memory. I thought about that one. I probably haven't thought of everything, but I think about my home too. Middle of the night. What if I hear glass break? What am I doing? Okay. I have my master bedroom door locked too.
Yeah.
And I don't have kids in the house anymore. You know, with little kids, you don't really want to do that. But I mean, you can if you want. But my husband's gone a lot. When I'm home alone, I lock that too, because now that's an extra barrier for someone to have to kick down. Gives me extra time.
Right.
Dial 911, set the phone down, get behind the bed, gun ready. Got a light on the bottom of my pistol there. I'm ready to go. I'm going to tell him, get the bleepity bleep out of here. I'm armed, get out of my house, blah, blah. And if he knocks that door down, it's on, right? I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to have to do that.
Well, I don't know about you, but we sleep with like a fan on. You know, there's some
sometimes
white noise.
you can't hear things.
So I probably wouldn't hear the front door opening. If
Can you
someone
imagine
were to-
waking up and you open your eyes and someone's over you?
Oh, God.
I can't even imagine it. So I want, and I have dogs, and, they're kind of the first line. I can hear barks and all that, right? But yeah, you want to be able to get to that gun fast too.
Yeah.
How are you going to store your gun? If you have little kids in the house, you need to make sure those guns are secure.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
practice getting in your safe too. I talk about that in class. That should be part of your training.
Right.
Sit on your bed. Go. Boop, 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 boop. Do the combo. Have it pop open. Ooh, that was good.
Right.
That was fast. Close it. Go. Fingerprint. Have it pop open. Ooh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I got this. Okay, I can get to my gun in 2.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Have your husband go. Threat. Whatever.
Yeah, right.
Right? You have to be able to get to that gun fast too.
Yeah, definitely. I always think it's best to have like multiple safes in your house
Yep.
so that even if you just own one firearm, you should be able to have a safe place where you keep it during the day and then also at night and how you carry it with you and all that. So,
I mean, it might sound weird to people. I mean, I carry in my house. Like, what if I'm on the other side of my house doing laundry? Someone breaks in the front door. My guns are all in the bedroom. I mean, what if I was unarmed? Oh, shoot, I can't get to my guns.
Right.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Well, I would flee. I would leave and
you
run,
live
but still,
out in the mountains a
I'm in
bit
the
too.
boonies,
So
yeah.
you also you're secluded.
Yeah.
And you also have maybe wild animals that could be a big
Bear,
issue.
cougar.
Yeah.
Got them on the game cam.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but I always want a gun on me. I just want to be ready. And I don't obsess about it. I'm not paranoid about it. I want to be ready in case, right?
right.
I hope for the best and prepare for the worst, always.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Good.
much for
Oh,
coming out.
gosh.
This has been great.
It has been great. Yeah. Thank you for what you're doing too. And this is such a great resource
It's my pleasure.
for people, for women. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And it's growing, I mean, I think I have the stat right. 2021, there were like 5.4 million first-time
many.
gun owners
many.
in the country, and like 33% were women.
Isn't it awesome?
And that tells you a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, it means that we realize it comes down to us taking care of ourselves, right?
it does.
It's a big thing. I love it. Makes me
me too.
happy. Makes me happy. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, awesome.